It's my name, welcoming you to In the Newsroom. We have three big topics to discuss this afternoon. The first one, federal government to the Nigeria Labour Congress don't stoke anarchy with planned solidarity protests. The second one is House of Representatives plans tax crimes commission. Insecurity, federal government considers ban on motorcycles. These are the three topics for discussion this afternoon. And I have two gentlemen of the press who are eminently qualified to be part of this program seated in the studio here. From my immediate rest,
We thank God. Thank you, Tunde Olatito, for hosting me.
Yeah, and I also have Abdul Latif Agbola sitting beside him. Latif, you're welcome.
It's my pleasure being in the newsroom once again. It's my second home, as I always told you.
Yeah. That is where every journalist want to be, the newsroom. Federal government to NLC don't stoke anarchy with planned solidarity protest. Since February 14, when ASU started its strike, all other unions within the academic circles have been joining here and there. Now, the big masquerade is staging an appearance. That is the Nigeria Labour Congress. That is the big masquerade. And the Yorubas will say, Egula Nikeyigbale, meaning the involvement of the NSC is not what anybody can joke with. And the federal government is now coming up to say, now, we have a security report saying that the protest should not hold. Do you believe in that security report that the federal government quotes or quoted as saying that the
participation
of NSC will lead to anarchy?
Well, when you take a look at the issue of the ASU strike, you will agree with me that the federal government itself is the one that is driving the country into the state of anarchy. Because any right-thinking person will definitely be baffled with the way the federal government is handling the issue of education, particularly at the tertiary institutions, the university. You know, the ivory tower of the nation's academic institution. You will see that from 14th of February, when the ASU proceeded on strike, a lot of things should have happened. I mean, which should have negatively affected students of the affected institutions. The whole of the university in Nigeria have been in strike from 14th of February. You will see that it is highly ridiculous and it is quite unbelievable. Meaning that a whole or two academic sessions
have been lost to the strike.
Have been completely lost. And you will remember that if there is anything that cannot be reversed, it is time. Time can never be reversed in the life of any human being. Many that those who ought to have completed their academic institution by June last month are still there groping for what to do. It means that federal government is deliberately killing the morale of Nigerian students. I wouldn't know what should have been the bone of contention between the federal government and the ASU in a Senate climb, one would have expected whatever be the bone of contention to have been resolved by now. But it is quite unfortunate that our leaders are those, that take the issue of education with levity.
Well,
I'm coming. The question of whether the participation of NLC
is capable of leading
is capable of causing or of introducing violence into the whole system. The system, the educational, the way things is going right now, one could read anarchy in the Nigeria, in the various structures of Nigeria. One could read anarchy because what is happening to those students who have been shut out of their various schools? They have taken to different, many of them should have taken to different crimes. We are talking of increasing wave of crimes. And the federal government is now saying, don't drive the nation to state of anarchy. Has the federal government not driven the country into the state of anarchy? My answer is yes.
Okay, let me go to Latif Agbola. You see, Latif, the federal government that is now saying there is a security report that says they should not, that NSC's involvement in an open demonstration in this country against ASU strike, or in favor of ASU strike, will lead to anarchy. We have had a lot of security reports in this country. Why is it that this one is the one they are happening on? The ones about Boko Haram, Iswap, were not worth looking at. Why?
Well, the reality of the matter is that, you see, action triggers reactions. One cannot rule out the issue of, what do they call it, security reports. It may be true. But the reality of the issue is that even without being a security agent, without being an intelligence agent, you know that Nigeria has problem in the first place. There are people who are super citizens that are supposed to be either in jail or being in custody under prosecution. What I mean is that we have some executive criminals being used by the political elite to win election, to gain access to some places and all the while. Because if you look at the concern is that the protest may be hijacked. That is true. But the question is, who are those to hijack this protest, if not those boys being used by majority of our political clans? What I see is that the experience of 2020, October 2020, the NSAS experience is what is giving the federal government the sleepless night. And my advice is that, as I said earlier on, without action, there won't be reaction. So the action led to reaction. What exactly led to this proposed protest is the lingering ASU strike. And if you look at it, since February, this is July, for God's sake, since February 14. Though this problem was inherited by the administration of Muhammadu Buhari, but you ask the question that what is the government doing about it? The same government that is talking about, because the money involved now, we learned is over 1 trillion is the issue, and the government has been able to pay like 200 billion. But the same government has been able to pay money for renovation of a National Assembly for 30 billion. That's what we call government, 30 billion. That means they don't take education of the citizenry as a priority. And why? Because majority of their children, some of them are in private institutions in Nigeria. And that's the problem. And another is the Minister of Labour, Dr. Chris Ngige. I apologize, and I'm sorry to say this, he doesn't have a good human relations
No.
He always talk down on labor leaders, the ASU leader, as if he's talking down on his children or his mates at home. I believe all this led to the we cannot expect Buhari government to pay all this 1 trillion. But Yoruba people, yes, Yoruba people will say, hey, Yoruba ni owó, you see lot of it. So if you don't have money, you
should be cautious
of what you tell your creditor, and that's what is happening. The way this man is handling this issue of ASU strike is nothing to write home about. And I will appeal to the federal government to do something, because as a Nigerian, I am also ready to get involved in the protest. Honestly, the fact being this government, all the Nigerian government generally know what to do if they are interested in a particular issue. They know how to. Okay, look at what happened to Osun election. Look at the number of security agents deployed to Osun because of election. See what we are facing on security of the nation. So when they have interest in something, they do the needful. But when they are not interested, they will try to foot drag. So I will advise the government to do the needful before it gets out of hand. That's my submission for now.
Yes, the federal government on its own has shown a lot of intransigence in tackling this ASU strike, because of the fact that if you come to think of it, students are at home, lecturers are idle, others are with that. And the president seemed to be pretending as if nothing is happening. Why is it now that the president is now saying they should want to use 2 weeks to solve about 5-month-old problem?
Because when you are facing with two devils, whosoever will align with the lesser one, you see, federal government has realized that he is likely to be confronted with two devils, and the two devils are the type that it will not be able to align with either of the devils. Now, the NLC is saying that he will join the strike. The federal government, is aware of the possible consequences of the NLC, aligning with the ASU.
ASU itself is another one on its own.
ASU itself is a very terrible devil. So when two devils now aligned or amalgamated, the country, as the federal government has rightly projected, will be in anarchy. But let me say,
but the federal government has every opportunity to avert what they want to avert now.
Like he said the other time, the federal government is just nonchalant. All these governments at the state and the federal level, they are paying lip services to the issue of education. None of them, because they know, those are the ends of affairs, they know the significance of education in the life of a generation. So, the way they are governing the country, if everybody is educated, do you think that many of them will have opportunity of getting to the ends of affairs? We are Nigerians. We are every Nigeria is a right-thinking person. But majority of Nigerians are not right-thinking person, and that is the reason majority of them are there. And it is only the education that can,
mold one into a
right thing, you see.
Latif Angola, why the federal government has every opportunity in this world to avert this that they are now scampering about to handle? Because it's like the NSC is not taking this lightly. They are not interested in any security report. NSC says whatever it will take, whatever will happen, let it happen. They don't care who succeeds God. Now, before now, the federal government has all the opportunities to avert this. They have not done anything. Why?
Well, number one thing is issue of priority. It is not their priority. Then the last time I talked about Ngige. Ngige is a kind of error as a minister. That error erroneously became mistake on the federal government. You put a round peg on a round hole, not a square peg on a round hole. That's what is happening. Some people who understand and people who are ready to do something in a particular sector should be put there. This man just like that office, and that is all. If you look what happened between him and a particular committee of the National Assembly the other time, a committee chaired by James Faleke. So he turned that committee to a political campaign arena.
Yeah.
When he was telling the honorable that I'm an enabler to your boss, this is not the kind of person that's supposed to be in charge of labor. In fact, in the Yoruba palace, Yoruba believe that even if you want to if you want to enslave someone, you take care of him or her. So that is what is happening. Priority is number one thing. Then the error of those who are the ends of the affairs, as far as that ministry is concerned, is another problem. Then what I see is that the federal government is concerned much about what affects them and their relatives and associates than what affects the masses of Nigeria. But unfortunately, Nigerians are divided. We too are divided. The masses are divided either by religion, by ethnicity, or by political bias. Because that's the point they are using to achieve what this they are achieving. You see someone that he is saying that because he belongs to the government in power, forgetting that those who are being affected by this are not only members of the party. We have members of opposition. We have those who don't even have party platform. So the reality of the matter is that the federal government should show more seriousness, because if you are destroying today and you think there's no problem, you are causing more damages to tomorrow than today. Those who solved the problem of Boko Haram and the bandits yesterday are not the only person reaping it today. No. But some of them have died. That's where we need to look into. At a time, some students might even be discouraged to continue their education, even with what we are doing now. And it will have the background effect on the future of the country.
Thank you very much, Latif. Yes, we go to the next topic.
Okay.
The next topic is House of Representatives plans Tax Crime Commission. You see, Nigeria has lost a lot of money to tax evasion. People, individuals, companies, big companies that had made the economy of this country in the past. I cannot be mentioning names, but I know that even some big wigs in the society evade tax. They don't pay tax. And now, since that time, we know that unwillingness to pay tax is an offense. It's a big offense. Today, Nigeria's economy is being driven by money from all sectors, including tax. Now, the House of Representatives is planning to establish a body that will try, that will discover and recommend for trial those who are evading tax in the country. Adeboye Popola, from the legal perspective, how feasible is this proposal or proposition, as it were?
You see, one thing about Nigeria is that we are very good in setting up commissions, panel, and so on and so forth. But as this commission, the setting up of this commission is being planned, some people have concluded plan to pull the commission down. And those people are no less than those in power. Do you have a company?
No.
Does he have anyone?
No.
Ditto me. I don't have. But you will be surprised that those who are feeding facts from the resources of this country are those people that are evading tax. But because the crude oil is there for the country, even the crude oil, you can see the amount that is stealing from the crude oil per minute. I read in the newspaper a comment by the president where the president, I think he was making a comment on expressing dismay and disappointment in the ways certain sum was stolen from the proceeds of the crude oil. That is Nigeria for you. In those days, before the discovery of crude oil, the economy of this country is based on the tax being generated from different sectors.
Yeah.
I remember the time, immediately after the war, after the Civil War, the country, those in power there, sat down and they made plan on how how things will be restructured in the country. Now, we didn't have oil by the time the first overhead bridges were constructed in Lagos. We didn't have oil. Those bridges were constructed, in the early 70s during the once government. All the proposals then that
based on taxpayers' money
are based on tax. As at that time, we had a number of companies in Lagos, including Osogbo. And the federal government was so meticulous, was so diligent in the way the plan was executed. In the way the government officials are going after the taxpayers, and the government then was also so faithful in the way the taxes being collected were judiciously used. Because one thing is to collect something from somebody. Another thing is for the person from whom that resources is collected to see you
using it
judiciously, rightly. I'm very sure if Nigerian government is so sincere in the way taxes are being used or disbursed, even Nigerians will police themselves. Nigerians, they will see that whosoever that don't want to pay are made to pay.
So you are saying that the inability or unwillingness of the government to spend the taxes in the right way are contributory factors to how Nigerians
are just nonchalant to the payment of the taxes. Look, let me tell you, you collected, let's say, 5 million from me, from my company. And I discovered that 5 million naira that you took from
ended
me
up in
was squandered by just a click in government. Will I be so favorably disposed to make another payment to you? The question is no. The answer is no. Now, another thing is that lack of sincerity. Go to some company, I won't mention names, Go to some companies that are on ground now in Nigeria. I mean, conduct your investigation and find out, do they really pay tax? Because they are allied of the people in government. They are friends of people in government. And when you are fraternizing, hobnobbing with those are the ends of affairs in Nigeria. Even if they see, the skull of human being in your hand, soaked with blood, you are free. You are free.
I'm letting you. Nigerians have been discouraged, according to Kufuor, and from what we all know. Nigerians are discouraged to pay tax because each time the money that is not even tax paid by the people, money that is coming from
natural resources
are being squandered and mismanaged. Let me use the word because there are a lot of words that will now replace that will replace
squandered.
That will replace, what do we call this money when you siphon money?
That is stealing.
Okay, let's use the word stealing. The money are being stolen by Nigerians, and those who are supposed to be the keepers of money are now the ones stealing. What do you think establishment of a tax crime commission will have any impact on the economy of this country?
Honestly, it is a very good suggestion we're talking about a tax crime commission, but there is a fact that we need to look into. The one thing is transparency. Even the FIRS, that is Federal Inland Revenue Services, is generating. Where do we spend? What do we spend it on? Then another thing is that even the oil sector we are talking about, there is abracadabra about oil subsidy to this moment.
Oh yes. Some people say there is no subsidy.
Even after NNPC was made a limited
liability company, yeah.
The Federal Minister for Finance is now talking about paying subsidy in 2023 now.
Yes.
2023 budget. So you will see the main
with the
issue.
Current price of fuel.
The main issue with us is insincerity.
Yes.
We are not transparent at all. And if this corruption is not tackled with every sense of sincerity, I don't see us move an inch. For example, look at what happened to the Ndidi Elumelu commission, committee the other time, that was about this $16 billion that was spent on electricity during the Chibobana Just Administration the other time. We didn't see the report, didn't see the light of the day. And apart from that, there was this one about the whole sector too, where this integrity, Ahmed Farouk Lawan was involved. The moment Farouk Lawan was arrested for going to Femeto's house at 3 a.m. to take bribe, that's the end of the investigation. So you will see that these big wigs, these big people, they are the problem of the country. And let me add this. You have Nigerians who have fleet of cars, but they don't pay tax on it. You see, the government will remove, before I could get my change at the end of the month, they must have removed tax from my own remuneration. But those who are big, those who have this money, those who have properties, they don't pay anything on this. And I believe that's where the government need to point the satellite, not the issue of the commission is a good idea. But we have had commissions and commissions and commissions after commission. We have BFCC, we have ICPC. During the prosecution, we see that even we don't need all this. What we need is sincerity. What we need is the political will. What we need is to tackle corruption with the fear of God. So all this commission, the agency, whatever, is not the issue. The issue is that, are we sincere about what we are talking about? Is it not that a clique, a group of people are ready to use that commission to enrich themselves? Is it not that there is a particular candidates elsewhere, or particular politicians elsewhere that they want to deal with. Yes, and they believe his company has not paid anything, and they believe that he used that company money to contest election or to do something, and they want to deal with the person, and after dealing with it, we earn it about the commission again. So we must be very good point. Yeah, we must be sincere, we must fear God, and we must tackle corruption with every sense of
if you remember sincerity. If you remember the circumstances that led to the establishment of a federal high courts in Nigeria, you will remember that one of those issues that was responsible for the establishment of that court was to ensure that tax evaders are tried speedily. That was. And
how many of them have been tried now?
How many of them?
That was the reason during Olusegun Obasanjo's military regime. That court was established. But today, what has Federal High Court becomes? What has it? I mean, what has it become? So you can say that even if this commission is set up, I don't see it making any impact as far as revenue generation is concerned. I mean, as far as tax payment is concerned.
Okay,
so that is it.
Let's see what happens at the end of the day. The National Assembly has taken it upon itself to establish it, and we will see what becomes of it at the end of the day. Latif made a very good point there, saying each time there is somebody to deal with, they will start from complex to simple.
You see, in advanced economies of the world, like UK, like US, even citizens themselves,
that monitored
everybody themselves. You cannot, even the footballers, if they don't pay tax, it is a good case or good ground for their expulsion. Or for the government to send them today. If you don't pay tax in the EU, because they don't have other source or other sources through which they could generate fund.
Okay. Yes. Let's take the next topic, and the next topic is insecurity. Federal government consider ban on motorcycles as a mean of transportation. An individual who has a motorcycle can ride. Federal government has come to think that when you look at the picture of the insurgents, you see that their means of transportation to wherever they want to go and execute their plan is the motorcycle. And now that the federal government has seen that motorcycle is being used by the insurgents to carry out their nefarious activities, they will want to ban motorcycles so as to be able to know who are the users of motorcycles. What are they using the motorcycles for? Maybe they have more reasons than that. Nobody could tell. Maybe they are following reports from the security arena. Nobody can talk. But Abdul Latif, banning motorcycles, do you think it has, and do you think it will have any impact on the security of lives and property, especially the fight against insurgency?
The reality of the matter is that even before we talk about the issue of security, let's consider the economic impact of motorcycle, Okada nowadays. We have big people doing Okada business today. You have an Okada man who has 1-2 wives who are taking care of their children. If you ban it, the question is, what do you want them to be doing? We can only talk about regulation.
And it's a great employer of labor.
Exactly. You can only talk about regulation. Regulation is in the sense that you can operate between this time and this time. We don't want to see you in so areas. That's number one. Number two is this, on the issue, security issues. all those motorcycles being used by bandits or securitaries or whatever you call them are not commercial motorcycles. They are motorcycles bought by them or received as ransom. Because nowadays, bandits are receiving motorcycles as ransom. They will tell them to buy them rice, buy them indomie, buy them oil and motorcycles as ransom in order to release those in their captivity. So the reality of the matter today is that the government need to look into what will be the fate of those who are legally in the business. Though there are some informants, some spies among Okada riders, no doubt about that. When I was working with Amatekun, we established it when some people were kidnapped along the Ibokun road. After they were released, a woman told us confidentially that an Okada rider was working for them and he was calling them from time to time that àti wàá mi báyìí o and we àti rí àwọn Àmọ̀tẹ́kùn ẹ má ti tètè kó bí o ẹ gbà bí o. That is true, but are we saying all Okada riders are doing that? And are we saying other people who are not Okada riders are not doing it? So what happens to our intelligence gathering? Then don't let us deceive ourselves. Majority of the camps of these criminals are known to the people in the northwest. Apart from Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, who used to visit them in their enclaves, there was a particular investigation, a particular report that established that in Zamfara State alone, over 55 camps, bandit camps, are in Zamfara State alone. So how did they come out about 55 camps? If not that they know them, they know where they live. And if you see what happened recently in Zamfara too, where an emir installed a bandit leader, a Serikin Fulani, a bandit, a criminal for that matter. So we know what to do, we know where to go, but we are only trying to. Yes, I know this is a recommendation from people with the Security Council, but the reality of the matter is that even though we have some criminal tools at the mining sites, no doubt about that, we have them. But how do you regulate all these sites? It's another thing. Do you really regularize it, or you only sharing the licenses among your cronies to make money, not thinking of the consequences of all this? So in order not to waste your time today, my suggestion is this: any attempt to ban Okada in Nigeria, the federal government is inviting anarchy. I'm not an Okada man, but I know what is happening. I know Okada has become. In fact, there is hardly can you see an area where there is no an Okada rider living in that area as a responsible man, as a family man. And if you say today you ban that business, what do you want him to do? To go to farm?
Yes, I covered election in very remote areas of Atakomasa East and West local government, and I discovered that those living in the villages, in very, very remote huts, relied on Okada for transportation to where they were going to vote. If Okada is banned, don't you think that will be an Herculean task? And look at the distances. Okada is good, but the federal government is not looking, may not be looking at the advantages. They are only looking at the disadvantages. And some people say, and I want to say here, that government know where to find the bandits. Your take?
You see, like he said, Nigerian government at times, they just wake up, formulate policies and begin the implementation without considering the negative side, without taking, without researching that policy very well. And the issue of prohibition of Okada as a means of transportation in Nigeria will only cause problem. It will only cause problem for many people, and the problems, the security problem that it will cause will be more than
what we have on ground now.
What we have on ground now. There is no. I always say it from my knowledge of the study of crime commission. There is nobody. There is no human being that cannot commit a crime. But the nature of crime that a person will commit, I mean, we could be slightly different from, let me put it this way. We have people who are criminally minded. Those who have criminal traits in them from birth. And we have people who becomes people who become criminals because of the environment they live.
They find themselves.
They find themselves.
Yeah.
So, what a criminal with criminal traits, the type of crime that person will commit, put him in a particular environment, will be different from the one that environmental factors lure into the commission of crime. That is it. Now, flowing from that is that there will be increase in the crime commission if the use of Okada as a means of transportation is prohibited. So I will advise the federal government to ensure that, you see, our system, the security people, the various security agencies that we have in Nigeria, they don't follow the trend of events. They don't. Some people even are of the opinion that crime could be eliminated. The commission of crime cannot be eliminated because crime itself is part of the social development of a particular community. Crime is part of the social development of a particular country or of a particular community. What I'm saying is this: security operatives, we have to, be alive to the development. When there is an invention, every invention will be accompanied by what? By crime. But the type of crime that will follow a particular invention will be different. So as soon as there is an invention, as soon as there is a development, as soon as there is a departure from the whole system, security people ought to have known that they need to go into the study of the possible consequences of that change in terms of the crime that is likely to emanate from the new system. Society is not static. The development is not static. Humanity, the way we think, the way we associate, the way we do things, you see, are not static. So the more we have people, the more we are developing, the more the system is growing. The possibility of having new crimes being emanated from the new one. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So our security operatives ought to have known before now that criminality we follow. We normally follow the use of Okada as a means of transportation.
Now that Okada, the federal government is planning to ban it, we have all agreed that it will lead to a surge in criminal activities.
Yes.
And it will lead to another surge in unemployment.
Of course.
And unemployment begets criminality.
That, you see, idle hand is an industry.
Yes.
Where criminalities are
bred.
Yes.
Yes, Latif,
Yeah.
what is your advice for the federal government?
Well, let me start with this before I go to the advice. It seems as if those who made the recommendations are one-sided or they didn't think in that direction. Even the nomadic way of cattle rearing too should either be regulated or banned. Now, on my advice, one, you can't ban Okada outrightly. You can only regulate it. For example, if you leave Lagos State and you come to Osun State, you want to be engaging in your Okada business, you must register with the government, with your association. Because the association has been populated because of the leadership tussle. We have about 7 of them now. So you must belong to one of these associations. Then you must register with the government that whenever they see you on the road and they ask you some question, they ask you some document, you must be able to provide them. That's number one. Number two, the government too should be serious, even on this Okada thing. Because at times, what the government is concerned about in most cases is to get money from that association or from that business. They don't even consider the security aspect of it. You need a particular database whereby the population, the total number of those who are engaging in Okada business in the state must be registered. In your state, this also number of Okada riders. If someone comes to Osun State today, it must be included. That's another advice. Then another advice is that what do we call it? Mining business too should be regulated, because we have so many potential criminals in mining sites.
Among them, yeah.
If you have a mining site in a state like Osun, like Kisambara, and what have you, there are criminals and potential criminals there who don't even care to do. There was a time here in Osun when these manual miners said their gas, those expatriates, that they owe them money and they kidnap the expatriates. So those who can kidnap expatriates because of owing them money can do anything. They can kidnap anybody, especially when they don't have money. They can turn to kidnapper or other. Then finally, let me add this: our security agencies too need to buckle up their belts. They need to improve on their intelligence gathering mechanism. The more we are moving, the more we need to expand our tentacle as far as security is concerned. And finally, we will advise, because some people are spies. They are working for these criminals. Whatever we are doing, either as the government, as the security agent, as the citizens, we need to be more patriotic in our thoughts, in our actions, and inactions. That's my solution.
Omola in 1 minute because of our time.
You see, I will say he has said it all. I will have advised the federal government on the issue of intelligence gathering. That is
key.
That is key. Why do we have spies? The security agents. So,
Instead of criminals having spies among the security,
yes,
it is the security that should have spies.
That should have spies among the criminals.
But the reverse is the case.
You now see. So let the intelligence be improved upon. We have them. We have they have.
If the training
It is an agency in government. The spies, the intelligence. We have them in the police. We have them in the military. We have them as a department. So what are they doing? If a mere criminal like Okada riders could beat them to it, it means that it's wrong somewhere. Maybe they are compromising their position. I don't know.
Yes, fellow Nigerians, this is about the normal convenient spot to draw curtains on today's edition of In the Newsroom on OSBC television. I have the duo of Adeboye Popola and Abdulateef Awola doing justice to the 3 topics that we brought here today. And on behalf of the producer of the program, Oladayo Olanipekwan, the executive producer, Akinola Wolabi, Babatunde Bolatito is my name, saying, have a wonderful weekend ahead. Good evening.
Mondays through Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m.